of the things that we've tried to do is think about both technology that people would make or utilize in the new world, or things that are pre-war that people are trying to get working now that they're sort of putting the pieces back together.
Obviously, Fallout has the whole, what people in the 1950s viewed the future to be like, which, immediately becomes a huge playground for, oh, let's try this kind of blaster and this kind of laser weapon, this kind of energy weapon.
It's not microchips, it's vacuum tubes. It's not hard corners, it's rounded corners. It's the ray gun instead of the M16.
So one of the first things the player's going to encounter in the opening area of Goodsprings, he was actually helped out of his early grave by one of the new robots we have in the game, which are called Securitrons. They themselves are sort of this curious blend of sort of sci-fi, crazy technology, yet they have the Fallout twist to them. This huge, hulking monstrosity, the track wheel that spins around as it's going across the landscape.
Instead of a head, they have a little computer monitor that's sort of right on their chest. And based on the personality that Mr. House wants them to portray, because Mr. House invented them, they'll switch the sort of cartoon image. So it might be an image of a cowboy, Victor, and Victor's the guy who rescues you at the beginning of the game.
Howdy, partner. Might I say you're looking fit as a fiddle?
When you see that on the video screen, it kind of like disarms you for a second. You're having a friendly conversation with this very large robot that could potentially level an entire city block. And the contrast there is, I think one of the fun things that just makes Fallout Fallout. Some of our companions are pretty heavily tech-based, and the nice thing about them, too, is that you get a chance to modify their technology over the course of the game, and I'm not talking about just repairs and upgrades. For example, Eddie, the sort of floating eyebot that you encounter early on in Prim, he has a lot more depth than it may seem from his initial beep-boop conversations that you have with him.
I think it's really important that you have a Pip-Boy, not just for the interface reasons, but it's very Fallout-y. You start with a Pip-Boy and you start with a vault suit, but they're given to you by the doctor who stitches you back up. And he says, I'm an old man, I'm settled here, I don't need this anymore, but if you're going out there looking for the guys that did this to you, you're gonna need something like this.
There was a lot of guns, and there was a lot of fun guns in the first game, but we've added so many more.
And some of those definitely range from the crazy 50s sci-fi feel to the more contemporary, you understand why that gun is cool because it's a grenade machine gun. And you understand the machine gun that shoots grenades. It's probably pretty awesome.
We have a little 9mm submachine gun. It looks like a World War II grease gun, like sort of compacted, and that's a really cool, distinctive little weapon.
The Ranger Sequoia, which is this massive, ornamented revolver that only elite Rangers have. It fires like rifle rounds. It's very powerful.
We wanted to make sure that energy weapons had a very distinct feeling from guns. We wanted there to be something mechanically different about them so that the player had a different type of experience while using them. So we introduced this thing called the Recharger Rifle. And the Recharger Rifle, you don't have to carry ammo for. It recharges it automatically. But it doesn't do it as fast as you can shoot it. You have to kind of pace out how you fire it. Also, we leaned more towards Western-themed weapons, so we have more revolvers, single-action revolvers like a .357. We also have lever-action rifles and shotguns, which are pretty entertaining to use.
Fallout New Vegas really lets you kind of pick a specialty when it comes to a weapon and play it all the way through. And still get, of course, the great thing with eyeballs exploding out of people's heads and all that kind of stuff. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but I enjoyed it every single time.
One of the big centerpieces is Helios One. We have this company in the Fallout universe that's been around for a long time called Poseidon Energy. And a lot of their projects are seemingly benevolent or seemingly just sort of general energy projects, but they often have a sinister application. When you go into it, what you can eventually learn is it's actually powering these terrible lasers called the Archimedes laser system. And eventually you can get like this little ray gun called Euclid's C-Finder. And all it's doing is it's finding the C point on a triangle so it can shoot an orbital laser down at whatever you shoot at. This ridiculous little teeny ray gun that you go around and go, and then just it blasts this huge area.